Hey, what's going on, guys? Instigator92 here. And today with this video, I kind of want to talk about some trends or things I've been noticing that it seems Halo Studios is really going to be trying to push, and thereby changing what makes Halo, Halo, with the Combat Evolved remake. So to kind of start this out, what really is a remake? And if I had to describe it, it would be something that is additive to the core experience of the original game. Adding simple things like maybe a little bit more dialogue here or there, maybe add an extra couple missions or something to help flesh a particular part of the story out. Or, sometimes just fixing and cleaning up some game mechanics to make them a little bit smoother. Or maybe completely change one thing that might have been a pain point in the original game. And I know a lot of people like to talk about Resident Evil. I can't really talk about that, I haven't played it. But I have been playing the Dead Space remake recently that came out a couple years ago. And that is going to kind of be my guideline of what a remake should be. They smooth up some of the movement, some of the combat. They tuned some of the weapons so that they all have a place in the sandbox for you to use, rather than just have one or two weapons that just kind of stand out from the rest and you don't even touch the others. There were a couple of sections in the game that were completely changed. What they ended up being were the parts where you go outside the ship, you are having to deal with asteroids that are coming at you, you got to avoid them, go from cover to cover, and then you get yourself to a room where you control a turret, and then you play like a little mini game shooting asteroids. They completely removed that because it was not necessarily very fun in the first one. And now they changed it to where you're outside, you're still kind of in the trench, dealing with asteroids coming in. But now you're calibrating the cannons while aiming your own weapon and hitting a separate button to kind of calibrate it to get them to aim and track on to the targets. That was neat, that was cool. Additive to the experience to fix something that was not very fun originally. They added a puzzle that you have to go and do at a certain point to fix the comms array. Now, the original puzzle was pretty straightforward. This one kind of adds a little bit more depth to that, a little bit more dealing with like actually trying to get power rerouted and getting the comms array functional. Some of the things that we are seeing with the Campaign Evolved campaign that's going to be coming out next year is there's a lot of changes for the sake of change that do not need to be there. One of the things being hit markers. Why do we need hit markers in a campaign-only game? This is where Halo Studios should be putting in the time and effort for that visual feedback. If I'm shooting at an enemy, they should be flinching, or if they're taking hits and they have shields like the elites, we should start seeing the static crackle, and the static on the shields should start getting brighter and brighter until the shields flare and pop, as we've kind of had with most of the games. I feel like the hit markers are lazy, and that is going to lead them to kind of taking the easy route where they don't necessarily have to add as much of that visual feedback from you hitting your target. And with this going forward, I feel like that's going to be something that they include in all of their games, not just this remake. Obviously, it's going to be probably in all the campaigns and multiplayers. And Halo has never needed hit markers. You know when you're hitting your target because you get that visual feedback. Now, there were things in the past, like, we were on peer-to-peer, so sometimes hit detection wasn't always the greatest. Halo 3 probably suffered from that the most, I would say. But for the most part, you knew when you're hitting your target and when you're not. Like, we do not need hit markers in Halo. That's a Call of Duty thing. And I feel that's something that Microsoft is doing and probably forcing Halo Studios to do to try to, quote-unquote, modernize the game, and then they want to try to make it like everything else. Next thing, Sprint. Sprint, in no way, shape, or form, is additive to Campaign Evolved. All the areas that are there, if it's a larger area, they give you vehicles. That's how you're supposed to get around. It changes up the gameplay, the pacing. You have the potential for people to just start sprinting through and not really pay attention to the environmental storytelling. So I think that also leads to some of the game's visual language being a little bit weaker, because now they don't have to be as detailed for something that people are probably just going to run through. Which in the original Combat Evolved, you have your one set pace, and as you're going, that allows you to take all of that in. You start to feel that sense of mystery kind of as you go through, and like that sense of wonder. And for people it's going to be their first time playing, they're going to miss out on that experience entirely. And then I can do a whole video later on about the whole sprint debate and everything in Halo. I have my opinions on it, and that's not something I necessarily want to sit here on this video too long and talk about. So next thing going forward, kind of like I mentioned, it seems like they're kind of changing Halo's visual language, especially with the Forerunner architecture. I know that Hidden Xperia did a video not too long ago kind of talking about that already. Kevin Cool as well had one today as of me recording this video kind of talking about that. And then in his video, he has a developer that used to work at Halo Studios kind of talk about some of the reasons why things have changed a bit. So go check that out if you guys haven't seen it already. But with this going forward, I think they're trying to change the visual language, really make it a lot more sci-fi and something that they can just kind of get done in a quicker manner, something a little bit more simple rather than worrying about putting some detail in there and then having like this extra bit of storytelling that's kind of going on through the visuals alone. So I think Halo is definitely changing in that regard. We've seen it with 4, 5, and Infinite that they can't see to just keep to what was there before and just continue forward with it. They're trying to completely, essentially, rewrite the script. So with all that said, I do believe that this is the way for Halo Studios and Microsoft to kind of push themselves away from what was originally Halo's identity and its gameplay, and try to kind of take that over and bring that into their own realm of what they think Halo should be and want it to be. I don't think this remake is something that they actually are putting their heart and soul into. I think they just kind of want to reshape the direction of the series by trying to modernize it rather than let what came before lead the way, and Halo kind of having its own identity and not being a game that follows what everyone else is doing. Halo was successful before these changes that they were trying to kind of force in, and now with the changes that they've been making since 4, 5, and Infinite, Halo has kind of taken a dive. It's definitely not in the same spot it was before. I want it to be in the same spot it was before. I guess not necessarily in the gameplay sense, though I would love that. But I want Halo to be on top again. I want every game that comes out to be the Halo killer, rather than Halo kind of killing itself. I don't know what to expect for the future of Halo going forward if these are the things that they're going to be doing. Kind of worries me that they have no faith in Halo as an IP, that they feel like they gotta change it and modernize it to be like every other game out there that everyone's playing, rather than let Halo, and I'm getting very repetitive here, let it be its own thing and let it stand on its own 2 feet. Because if people want to play Halo, they're going to play Halo. And if they don't want to play Halo, then they're not going to play it. So I guess, like, at the end of this here, what I would really like to see, especially after this game comes out and they decide to do maybe the second game or the third game for remakes, really think about what a remake is. And then I want Halo Studios to actually make it a true remake. Don't try to change up the formula of what was there and what worked. Because adding in, like, major changes is going to completely change the game. Not just gameplay, but the tone of it. So that's kind of all I have here for this video. Feel free to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'll try to keep an eye on that and interact with you guys. These are just my thoughts at the end of the day, kind of how I feel, and listening to everyone else kind of put their opinions out there gave me a chance to kind of really think about things and form my thoughts on it, kind of let them simmer for a bit before I actually put them in a video. So I do appreciate everyone sticking around. If you made it to the end here, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already and you're new to this channel and you like this content. I am trying to do more. And with that said, catch you guys on the next one.